Hello everyone, welcome to Insecta channel. So today we will discuss the mouth part in detail. So first we will discuss chewing and biting type of mouth parts. So here you can see the structure of chewing and biting type of mouth parts. So this kind of mouth part, they are having maxilla, mandible, labrum and labium. So maxilla will helps in cutting and grinding. Same as mandible, they will also helps in cutting and grinding. Both the maxilla and labrum is the upper lip. So both the maxilla and upper lip, they will help to push the food inside the oesophagus. So oesophagus is the food pipe. So they will help to push the food inside the oesophagus. Then labrum and labium is also you will find in case of chewing and biting type. So the example are Orthoptera, Isoptera, Coleoptera, then larva of Lepidoptera and Neuroptera. Next we will see piercing and sucking type. So this kind of mouth parts, normally they are elongated form and they are having a slender rostrum or beak. This rostrum is nothing but the modification of labium. How this rostrum form? By the modification of labium. So labium is the lower lip. So labium modified to form the beak or rostrum. So this rostrum, it acts as a protective covering of the mouth part. Next we will see the piercing and sucking type of mouth part is in case of bug type. So bug, they contain 4 stylet. Always remember, this is very important. So bug contain 4 stylet. So stylet we already know, needle like structure which will use to penetrate the plant tissue. So these 4 stylet, they formed by the modification of 2 maxilla and 2 mandible. Then covering sheath of this stylet is formed by the labium. So labium is the lower lip. So with the modification of the lower lip, the covering sheath of the mouth part has formed in case of bug type. Then labrum is reduced form. Then maxillary groove formed for the food canal and salivary canal. So maxillary grooves here modified to form the food canal and the salivary canal. So what are the things came? 4 stylets are there. 2 maxilla and 2 mandible modified to form the 4 stylet. Then the mouth covering is formed by the labium. Labrum is reduced in case of the bug type, and the maxillary groove formed the food canal and salivary canal. So next we will see the piercing and sucking type of mouth part in case of mosquito. So mosquito, they are having 6 stylet. Like in case of bug, they are having 4 stylet, but in case of the mosquito type, they are having 6 stylet. So how this 6 stylet form? By the modification of 2 maxilla, 2 mandible and labrum, epipharynx and hypopharynx. So remember, 6 stylet formed by the 2 mandible, 2 maxilla, then 1 labrum, another one is labrum epipharynx, another one is hypopharynx. These 6 parts modified to form a stylet. So the mosquito are having 6 stylets, and the covering sheath is formed by the labium. So here also in case of bug, the covering sheath was formed by the labium. So same thing here. Then food canal is formed by the epipharynx and salivary canal is formed by the hypopharynx. Next, the food channel is divided into, see, you have to remember like this. In mosquito, 6 stylets are there. What are the parts modified to form these 6 stylets? You have to remember. Then you have to remember the food channel, it is formed by which part? So the food channel is formed by the epipharynx, salivary canal is formed by the hypopharynx. This food channel, again it is divided into upper civarium and lower salivarium. So the food channel, it is, suppose this is the food channel, it is again divided into upper civarium and lower salivarium. Now what is the function of this civarium and salivarium? Salivarium is used for releasing the saliva, okay, as the name indicating. So salivarium is used for releasing the saliva, whereas civarium is used for sucking the sap. Is it clear for all? Then what are the example of this? This is mosquito, fleas, lice, bug, all the example will come under the sucking type, but here we are discussing about the sucking type of mouth parts in mosquito. Then we will see sponging type. So these are also sucking type insect, but these will not bear any stylet. Okay, so how they will suck the sap? These mouth parts represented by a proboscis formed from the labium. So you can see this is the proboscis of the mouth part, or this is the proboscis of the housefly. This proboscis is nothing but the modification of labium. Now labium is the lower lip, so the modification of the lower lip formed the proboscis in case of the housefly. So this proboscis, it is divided into basal rostrum, middle hostelum, distal labellum. So you can see this is the basal portion. This portion is known as rostrum, middle portion is known as hostelum, and the distal portion is labellum. So this portion is labellum. You can see the picture. This is rostrum, this is hostelum, this is labellum. So these are the three parts. The proboscis is divided into three parts. Next, the labellum is a sponge-like structure. As you can see, this is the sponge-like structure. It transverse by a number of narrow transverse channel known as pseudotrachea. So suppose here I will draw this. This is the sponge-like structure, as you can see in the picture. So this sponge-like structure are having many transverse lines on it. These are the transverse line. These transverse channel are known as pseudotrachea. So from this point the food will enter into the food canal, which is formed by the labrum and hypopharynx. So here the food canal is formed by labrum and hypopharynx, and from this pseudotrachea the food will enter into the food channel. Next, the pseudotrachea gets filled with food material by the capillary action, and it is sucked up from the central point of the esophagus. So this is the pseudotrachea. When due to the capillary action the food will fill inside this pseudotrachea, it will get enter into the esophagus. So the example is housefly, and in case of this housefly the mandibles are absent. Now we will discuss chewing and lapping type of mouth part. So this is the example of honeybee. So honeybee are having chewing and lapping type of mouth parts. The chewing portion or the biting thing will be done by labrum and mandible. Then the sucking thing will be done by the maxilla, labium and hypopharynx. And inside this sucking portion, sucking proboscis, the glossa will move freely up and down. Here you can see this is the glossa. This is the flabellum mouth part of this honeybee. This is the maxilla. So glossa, where we have read? Glossa, it is the inner lobe of labium. Already we read this. Inner lobe of labium is glossa. So glossa will move freely in the proboscis. Then glossa is provided with long hairs and a small spoon-shaped lobe known as flabellum. As you can see here, already we have discussed this flabellum. Flabellum, it is nothing but the spoon-shaped lobe present at the end of glossa. Then the mandible are dumbbell shaped. As you can see, this is the mandible, they are dumbbell shaped. Then the maxillary palpi are very small and reduced. Maxillary palpus, they are very small, or you can say it is reduced. So remember, always chewing and lapping type means the sucking portion inside this glossa will be there and it will move up and down, and in front of the glossa, at the tip of the glossa, flabellum is there, which is spoon shaped in structure. Then we will see siphoning type of mouth parts. So this type of mouth parts you will find in butterfly and moth. So sucking, they will suck the fluid, liquid fluid material, food or nectar from the flower or anything. Then labrum is reduced, mandible usually absent. Here what is there? Labrum is reduced. Then mandibles are absent. Then maxillary palpi are rudimentary, and the labium may be large, heavy and scaly. So here labium may be large, heavy and scaly. Next, the gallia of maxilla. Already you have discussed the inner lobe is gallia. So gallia licina, already you have discussed the structure of maxilla. So the gallia of maxilla join together to form a slender hollow tube or proboscis like structure which will remain as curled. As you can see, normally when they will not feed, their mouth part will remain in curling structure. So once they will start feeding, they will uncoil this, then they will start the proboscis, or they will uncoil the proboscis to suck the food material. Then we will see rasping and sucking type of mouth parts. So this type of mouth part, it is found in case of the thrips, because in thrips the right mandible is absent. So you will find this rasping and sucking type of mouth part. With this mouth part, the insect lacerate the plant epidermis and suck the sap. Then the left mandibles are modified to the mandibular stylet. So here only the left mandible modified to form the stylet. Then maxilla are modified to form the maxillary stylet. So this stylet they will use mainly for the sucking of the sap. Then right mandible is absent. This is very important question for the JRF or your semester exam. So right mandible is absent in thrips and asymmetrical mouth part is found in thrips.